Hola, buenos días. Es Nico.
What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
So today, I actually had to remake this video because I had like very low energy. So I took some pre-workout, I listened to some Planet Her, and I'm here for this conversation. It's it's funny because this low energy and this building up energy, because I can already start to feel the tingles, is gonna go straight into rage with this topic. If you like this kind of conversation, basically, we're gonna be talking about how gay men don't realize that they do not have privilege when it comes to SAing. I was using the full word last time, to SAing sex workers and or dancers. So, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on Patreon at patreon.com/NikosAesthetics. If you like video games, follow me on twitch.tv/NikosAesthetics. I have not been twitching. Why have you not been twitching? I have been balancing 2 jobs. I have been balancing trying to study, and I still need to go over 3 chapters this week. So I'm still balancing. And I also, like I said, I started dating. So it's like, I don't give myself room to breathe. So when I actually want to do something, something has to drop. And since Twitch is my least lucrative activity, bitch, time is money. I got bills to pay, I got tuition to pay. So it's like, Twitch, though it's fun, I get to hang out with the girlies, the chat be having me screaming. Like, that's the real reason I be twitching, because the chat is so hilarious. Like, there is so much personality in my Twitch girlies, but I don't make money off of that. It's just me hanging out. I mean, obviously I make money off of it in the past, like getting funding for games and stuff like that, but I still intend to Twitch. It's just I have to have the time. So it's going to be more free form, like, I have a few hours, I'll just Twitch, that kind of thing. But if you like that, make sure to follow me there. If you like thirst traps, Nikos Aesthetics, Twitter and Instagram. If you like humor and violence, Nikos Aesthetic on Twitter. And I finally got it done in 2 minutes. Also, the curlies, they're about to go away for a little bit. I'm gonna get my hair rebraided before I go out of the country, because bag checking is it's a ripoff, bitch. I'm not paying $25 to be my hair care products. So I'm just gonna put it in this little protective style. We're gonna look cute, island papi, island girl, Mia Trini Dominican girl, bilingual girl. Yes, all that energy, bitch. So we're gonna have that, but let's get on to the topic. I've rambled long enough, as I usually do, tangents and all that. So essentially, what we have here, someone was, a dancer was dancing at a Pride event, and someone took it upon themselves to try to expose their genitals by grabbing at their costume. And while they were doing this, another patron that was feeling on the dancer's thigh tried to reach for their exposed genitals. So you know what the dancer did? A proper response, one that I vehemently stand behind. He punched that bitch in the face. As soon as he fell back, he leaned forward and kicked that bitch in the jaw. Then he hopped off the table and whipped his ass. Because what y'all don't understand is that when you go beyond that barrier of personal space, consent, that is now sexual A. That is now SA, That is sexual violence. You cannot just grope somebody and expose them, especially if they are specifically wearing underwear. So, let me tell you as an ex-dancer, because yes, Nico was down in the valley where the girls get naked. I've talked about it before. I've talked about it before on my platform, so it's not something that I hide. I'll probably go back to it eventually, just because it's really good money, bitch. It's some really good money, and I look a lot better than I did back then, so I would make more money now. So I would definitely consider going back to dancing. But essentially, I'm going to give you my opinion on that, because I've had people invade my personal space before, I've had them try to put their hands in my underwear. I've had somebody shove a few dollars up my asshole. That was an interesting one. That was a bartender. So that's a long story. I laugh now because it's just a hindsight moment of this bitch really shoved $1 up my ass. But anyway, I've been in situations where people have taken it too far. So I definitely understood why that dancer got down and whipped that man's ass, because that is invading someone's personal space. Like my friend Just Henry, stated. I always bring up Just Henry just because he has very good insight on situations. Like, y'all know I'm a thirst trap girly, but as y'all can see on my YouTube, I'm actually very intelligent. So that's not a flex. I just think I'm a little smart. Like, I'm not just a face or big tits and a fat ass. I actually like to think. So I have a lot of journalist friends, a lot of people that have podcasts, a lot of people that have YouTubes, and I'm gonna start plugging them, because at this point I bounce off conversation idea points from them, and I feel like I should start getting them credit. My friend Steven, I'm gonna start plugging his shit too, because he's always talking about us doing like a podcast and then it never happens. But the thing is about that, I know a tangent, he just randomly like goes, oh, Nico Aesthetics and I, we're gonna make this podcast, and he doesn't actually talk to me about it beforehand, so it never really comes to fruition. But I'm gonna set something like that up, because I have a lot of mutuals who are very intellectual and have good idea and think pieces. But anyways, back to the story. My friend Just Henry, he even said gay men don't understand the complexities of personal space, consent, and sexual violence and SA, because when we get into these situations, you no longer have privilege if you are in a room full of other queer people, meaning you cannot claim homophobia if you try to touch somebody and they whip your ass. No, you are now invading this person's personal space and sexually, SAing them. So I saw comments that really upset me, because obviously the groping of somebody and exposing their genitals is out of the question and unacceptable. I've already talked about that in previous videos about club culture, but it was mostly the responses that made me sick, because people were saying, oh, he's just mad because his dick was small. Oh, he's just mad because he wasn't hard and he got exposed. Or, oh, he just mad because he wasn't attracted to the person. And I need y'all to start understanding and start thinking with your big head instead of your little head. Just because somebody is a dancer, just because somebody is a sex worker, does not mean that they are public property. Does not mean that their body is yours to claim. If I am dancing, especially in Houston, because Houston has a keep your underwear on policy for go-go dancers. So it's like, if I am dancing, I'm here to get my money. I'm not here to get groped by you. I'm not here to be your sexual toy. I'm here to give a fantasy and get paid in the process. You have to respect boundaries. And that's where a lot of gay people falter. Boundaries. Because when I talked about club culture, bitches got upset. Because they were like, how do you go out and not want to get groped and blah, 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 blah. Y'all just bougie and sedity. If you're not going out to get sexually aid, why are you even out in the first place? And y'all are very, like, I don't understand how some people have thought process like this. Like, I'm not, I use common sense. I say this often in my videos. I'm not one of those bitches that's like, oh, I'm better than. But bitch, if I'm out and about, if I'm dancing for work, I'm not here to get groped and or assaulted. I'm sorry, that's not why I came out. Why would I come out to do that? That doesn't make sense. So when people were going, oh, he's just mad because blah, 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 blah. No, bitch, he's mad because his personal space has been invalidated and he did not have consent for that. Not to mention, this video has gone viral, meaning my exposed genitals are now all over the internet. Bitch, I would be hot, I would be tight, I would be glad that I whooped his ass. And I'm not gonna let the bitch that tried to grab his exposed genitals slide, because a lot of people were focusing on the bitch that exposed him, but not the bitch that tried to join in on the sexual A. Like, that's not acceptable. And I wish that as a community, we stopped co-signing bullshit. Because what that was a blatant co-sign. Okay, well, he's exposing it, so I'm just gonna go reach for it and go along with it. No, bitch, if you see something that's not right happening, say something. Do something. Do not join in on the fuckery. Because that dancer should have fucking roundhouse kicked that bitch in the jaw. That's just my opinion, Nico, are you promoting violence? My essence is violence. Y'all shouldn't be surprised that I said that bitch should have got a roundhouse kick. Like, come on. But, so yeah, definitely drop your opinions down below, especially because I want to see your opinions on this whole situation of, should dancers expect to be groped? Should sex workers expect to be groped? Because as somebody, because I consider dancing an extension of sex work. So I, in theory, have done quote unquote sex work. It's like, as somebody who's done that, I don't agree with that whatsoever. Like, people don't understand. These are still human beings. This is just a job. Like, when I was dating, back when I was a dancer, the person that I was seeing, he would make lewd comments like, that's what you wanted. You wanted to get groped like that, and you like showing people. And it was just very derogatory and demeaning statements. And usually people say that to like lower your self-esteem, because they feel like, oh, other people want you, so you must think you're all blah, 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 blah. But no, I legit just did it for a job. Like, I went out one night. I think I told you guys how I got into dancing. And someone just said, oh, I like your body. Have you ever thought about dancing? Come to this club and blah, 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 blah. And that's how I got into it. Like, it's really that simple. I was just out and about and got offered a job. And I was like, because, I would always joke about, oh, I'm going to be a stripper one day. And then I did it. It's really good money, but the culture that surrounds it can be very toxic, especially the clientele. So I definitely want to open up dialogue on this, especially because it's Pride Month, well, it's ending. It's Pride Month and everybody's going out and shit. And no one actually takes the time to consider the sex workers and the dancers. And as someone who has a lot of mutuals who are sex workers and who are dancers, I could definitely try to open up a discussion on this just to give you guys a perspective on how they actually feel when these things happen, because we are human beings. We are still people at the end of the day. When I had situations like this, or even when I go out now and somebody gropes me or slaps my ass, and I be fully dressed. I'm not one of those bitches that's like, oh, well, you should have wore something. Bitch, whether I'm in a tank top or a romper or fully clothed, bitches will still try to touch me just because they feel like my body is public domain because of the way that I'm built. Yeah, I said it. I've walked around in like a tank top, fully clothed, like a tank top like this that covers my entire chest. But as you can see, my chest is still prominent just because of the way I'm built, and people will still try to grab me, and that's not acceptable. So I will definitely bring that conversation to the forefront. But definitely drop down your opinions about, have you seen situations like this where people have gone too far with dances? Or if you've been a dancer or a sex worker, have you ever had a situation where somebody sees you in public and thinks that your body is public domain? Let's open a discussion on this. And I think that's it. I know I'm a little sporadic at the end just because the pre-workout is kicking in, but I will definitely see you guys next time. Boop. And once again, a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon, and a quick shout out to my third eye tier patrons. Your support means everything to me and helps me do this a lot more smoothly. I will also be listing this week's live stream topic in case anybody wants to join in on the fun. I will see you guys there.